secondary school, and there are some children at home
school, yes,
because of the COVID. So they must follow the lessons as well.
Yes,
devono seguire le lezioni, not follow. They must
attend the lesson.
Attend the lesson as well. So the connection sometimes is really bad.
Attend the lesson. Yes. But, yes.
And the parents of
probably many people online at the same time. Probably many people online at the same time.
Sure.
I don't know.
And parents complain
anyway, it's
about
only you and me today.
Yes, because there's we are alone. But I think how many are we in the course? Because I started the last time. It was my first lesson.
Yes. Not very many.
Okay.
I think some 12, 13 people. 12, 13 people.
Ah, okay. 12, 13.
But not anybody. Comes full time. But not anybody comes all time. There's always someone who can't for some reasons. But hopefully somebody will join us. I hope so. Otherwise, it will be a private lesson. I'm all for you. What would you like to do?
I have no idea. If it's a private lesson, it could be also, it could start also
Valentina,
less than.
Are you still there?
Yes.
Oh my
I
lost my only student.
I hear you very bad, and your image is not moving. You are still.
I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you. I thought, oh my God.
I don't.
Yes, that's the same for you. It's the same for you.
And,
you look,
and
you
if
know,
we close,
like a photo,
and
you're not moving at all.
And I try to come in again. Perhaps I don't know.
Shall we try and close the video?
Yes.
Yes.
I would.
do you want to start all over again?
Yes.
No, let's try.
To leave. If I leave and I re-enter. Because I can hear nothing. Share screen, no? Oh no. Oh. No, share screen. Non capisco più. Exit for end. Oh.
Hi. Is that any better? Is that any better?
Yes.
Okay.
Now it's better. Now it's really better. I can hear
Let's
you.
cross fingers. Okay, so what would you like to do? You are the only one for the moment, but it's okay. We can go on with our lesson all the same.
Oh. Okay. Okay. No. Well, I don't know. I have no idea.
Whatever you prefer. What are you doing at school at the moment?
I'm thinking because you said last time you said we could choose a topic.
Okay.
Every day topic. But I don't know. I'm thinking because I have no idea about the topic. If you want, we are only two, and well, the lesson can last less than usually.
Yes, it can be 1 hour instead of 2 or whatever you want to. That's not a problem. But let's wait. Maybe somebody's coming late, or who knows.
Okay.
Maybe they will join us later. But
I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm thinking because I don't know. I have no idea.
What are you doing at school? Are you a teacher of English?
No, Italian.
Ah, okay, right.
Italian teacher, history and geography. So.
Okay, so in this
but
case.
But I'm also studying German at the moment.
German? Oh my God.
German. I don't know if you know the language, German language. No,
I can't speak German now. I can
very
speak
difficult.
Japanese, though.
Sorry?
I can speak Japanese, though. I graduated in English and Japanese.
Oh, but why do you know Japanese? Because you studied or you worked?
Yes, I graduated at university in English and Japanese. I decided to pick it up because it looked interesting to me. And once you start, you cannot stop. It's too fascinating. It's another word. It really opens up your mind, a different way of looking at things. Wow, fascinating, really. So I went on.
Did you also stay or you teach or did you teach in Japan?
I went to Japan once for 2 months and a half. And then I meant to stay longer, but my boyfriend got ill, and so I came to stay with him and so on. But anyway, yes, it was a very good period. But I normally work with the Japanese people because I am not only a teacher, I'm also a guide of the city of Verona.
Yes.
As a guide, I normally work more with the Japanese people than with the English speaking.
Yes.
Because
so you work most of the time. You work during summer.
I used to. Now with coronavirus, it's all stopped.
Yes.
But I used to work a lot with as a guide.
But also in winter, I think.
Yes, exactly. That's why I told you I used to work more with the Japanese than with English, because Japanese people used to come all year round. Yes. And so I worked with them a lot all year round.
And they always standed in front of the Juliet balcony.
Of course.
It was difficult to me to come along.
To pass that way. Do you live near there?
No, because no, I live in Borgo Trento. Not far, but when I go to yoga, gymnastic.
Yes, or yoga classes. Where do you?
It's near Catullo. No, yes, Catullo Street. Near the Juliet's
Via Cappello.
Via Cappello, sorry, not Via Catullo.
Yes.
Via Cappello.
Via Cappello. Yes. Oh, I see. Where is it? I'd like to start yoga again, but not in this period, of course. But I used to do yoga when I was younger, and then I stopped, and I would like to start again. But maybe at the end of this coronavirus crisis, I will ask you for the address of the place.
Yes, but well, there are different types of yoga, and you have to find the best for you. It's not the same for everybody, because there is the yoga which is very strength.
There are different kinds of yoga as well. Yes.
The yoga I practice is based on the physical force. Cioè bisogna avere, è più fisico che non mentale, più di forza
fisica. The yoga
fisica.
you are doing?
Yes, the yoga I'm doing is based on difficult exercises.
Okay, so it's very active, not asanas.
Yes, active, and it's connected with the respiro.
Breathing.
With the breathing. Yes, breathing. It's connected with breathing, but it's very difficult and also strong.
Yeah, you need to be strong.
You need to be strong with
so that's ponti. Not for me.
No, I don't know, but verticali, ponti, everything. But it's very good.
I'm telling you, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not good for me.
But there are different kinds. You find.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I like something relaxing, more.
Yes, perhaps there are. I don't know if they have in the center where I go. It's called yoga shala.
Shala. S-H-A-L-A.
Shala yoga VR Verona. Shala yoga and
I can't see your chat.
Yes, because I don't know how to. There is not. Di solito c'è la freccina.
Just go.
Maria Pia, ecco, tu Maria Pia. No, it didn't arrive.
Or maybe to everyone.
No, it's just everyone.
Yeah.
Ok, to everyone. No, normally, di solito c'è la freccia.
You can also simply go online. Go, go on a new line.
Yes, on a new line. To everyone, Shala with S-H-A-L-A. But I don't know how to
Can you see my chat?
Yes, I can see your chat. Yes. But when I write
S-H-A-L-A.
S-H-A, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to send you. No, say
that's very strange.
I don't know how to send to you. So.
Just type and then go on a new line. Press
the
key to go on a new line.
So.
There it is.
Okay.
It's fantastic. Shala Yoga Verona. Yes, fantastic. Yes.
Which is not far from
the asanas. I like the asanas, the postures and relax, breath control, these kind of things, you know. I don't like something very active and strong.
This is very active and it's also breathing. So you can control, you learn to control the breathing, but it's hard. It's very faticoso. Non so come si
tiring.
Tiring, yes, it's very tiring.
Tiring, hard, tough.
Hard, tiring, yes.
Yes. Okay, right.
But perhaps they have also other kinds of yoga. They should have other kinds of, if you ask, perhaps.
Yes.
So, no, I just wanted to ask you about Japan, because I saw beautiful videos about the cherry
trees, cherry
flowers,
cherry
yes.
flowers.
Cherry flowers,
Yes.
during in spring, because I saw that there are, well, different towns.
It's funny to write it like this because it should be written in a different alphabet, but it's Sakana no Ki. Ki is
yes.
for tree, and no means of, sakana, sorry, sakura. Sakura
is the flower.
Sakura,
Yeah,
no,
yes.
Sakura no Ki, sorry. Sakura no Ki, because I can't write in this alphabet.
No, but it's the same.
It's very confusing.
You haven't to write. I just understand.
Yes, Sakura no Ki means tree. No means of, and Sakura means cherry.
The cherries.
So
but they have no cherries, just the flowers.
Yes, they love the cherry flowers because for them it's the symbol of life. Because like life is beautiful but very short. It lasts
like a flower. Yes.
So and
then it should be also. Down. I heard that the cherries, these flowers, are everybody in Japan, also in their flag, perhaps.
They love it because it's like our lives. It's wonderful but very short. Very short. Yes. 2-3 days and you fall down. So it's a symbol for them. And in Kyoto and so on, they've got beautiful festivals in springtime when the cherry blossoms bloom. Blossoms?
Fioriscono.
Yes, bloom.
When
blossoms sono come si chiamano in italiano?
Boccioli.
Brava, boccioli. E to bloom è fiorire. So when the blossoms bloom, it's wonderful in Kyoto, all over Japan, but mainly in Kyoto.
In Kyoto, there are also many temples with the flowers. There are many temples.
Many temples, yes.
With the flowers, it's a very explosion of colors. It's a suggestion, una suggestione di colori.
Very fascinating.
Fascinating, yes.
Fascinating. Yeah.
But it lasts not long.
And to go back to breathtaking. Breathtaking. Wow. You are left without your breath. Like this, you know?
Senza respiro.
Sì, no, prendere a bocca aperta, diremmo noi.
Bocca aperta, breathtaking.
It's breathtaking. Ti toglie il respiro da tanto sono belli. It's breathtaking. Ti lasciano a bocca aperta.
And there are different kinds also. I heard there are different kinds of bloom.
Of cherry blossoms. Yes, they can be more white or more pink, but yes. And the cherries are not very good. They are small and almost white, very light, not big and dark like our cherries. But the flowers are beautiful and they love the flowers.
And I was wondering, but well, how can I have this kind of trees? Are they natural trees or?
Yes, they are natural trees. Should be possible to grow them in Verona as well, because I mean the temperature is the same. Yes, but we don't have that kind of cherry trees. Our cherry trees are more, how can I say, have been selected to produce delicious cherries. Nobody cares about the flowers. So we don't have that.
Are Japanese cherries to eat?
They are eatable. They are eatable. But they're not so good as ours.
Okay, yes.
They are not so good as ours. È una, come si chiama?
Because they are small and...
di uguaglianza, not so good as ours.
Oh, yes.
They're not so good, so good as ours. They're smaller and almost white, pinkish, but not red, almost white. And you can eat them, but they're not so, how can I say, pulpish and juicy as our cherries.
Yes, sure. Because if they are not red,
they're not big and red, and
they cannot be very.
Yes. They're not so pulpy and juicy as ours. Non hanno tutta questa polpa e questo sugo come noi. They're more whitish. Ok, white è ovviamente il colore. Whitish biancastre. White bianco, whitish biancastro. Red rosso, reddish rossastro.
I didn't know this.
Exactly. Adding ISA.
So pink and pinkish.
Yes.
Pink, all the colors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So they're whitish, not so pulpy and juicy as ours. But you can eat them. But what's particularly, how can I say, attractive for the Japanese people are the flowers, not the cherries.
Oh, yes, sure.
And we don't have that kind of cherry trees in Italy. But maybe you can order them via internet from Japan. And because they're really very nice. But as I told you, they last little. They last.
Yes.
Durano poco.
Sì, I heard non so, la fioritura lasts maximum.
Week, 10 days.
10 days.
1 week, 10 days.
But
then there are many trees. So some of them blooms sooner, some of them blooms a little later.
Yes.
Altogether, it may last 2 weeks, a fortnight.
But also the festival. So the
festival is 1 week.
1 week. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. They have wonderful festivals. In July, they have a special festival. I can't remember the name. Oh, I can't remember the name, but it's a festival which celebrates the fact that 2 stars, which are normally far apart, on that time, that day in July, they look united. They are, of course, millions of years apart. But from the Earth, from Japan, they look like they get together. And it's only for 1 day a year that those stars, which are normally far apart.
In July.
In July, at the beginning of July.
At the beginning, Tanabata, no.
Tanabata Festival, yes, the Tanabata Festival. How do you know? Have you
because
got the
sto cercando.
I'm looking
on the
internet.
On the smartphone.
Yes.
Festival Tanabata, which is written the Japanese writing.
Yes, I can write it here. Yes.
Two
ideograms.
Icons.
Kanji in Japanese.
Ideograms. Two icons, come una T e una non so quella.
Ideograms in English, kanji, they're called in Japanese. Yes, they're writing like this, but I can't write it on this chart.
I didn't know what Japanese do during the Tanabata.
Well, they have a parades in the streets and with a lot of luminaries, they call it, lights,
okay. Yes,
and you know, balloons and decorations connecting one house to the other over the streets. And then, of course, in the evening, in the late evening, they have fireworks.
Fireworks, i fuochi d'artificio. Perhaps
Yes.
in the legend I read it's this festival means the Orim and the Ikoboshi who go together.
Yes.
Il ricongiungimento di
Yes,
Orim
the joining. They join, yes. The joining of these two stars.
Two stars join together. Oh,
yes, they join together. They don't really join together. They're still millions of years apart, but from the Earth, from Japan, they look like they join together on that day of the year. And that's a big festival for them. Mm-hmm. Or they have the children's festival. Boys and girls, different, you know, dates. They've got beautiful festivals. It's a fantastic.
But are they together? Are they together during a festival?
No, there's the girls' festival and the boys' festival.
So if I go to the girls' festival, there are only girls, women.
Well, everybody celebrates.
Okay.
Everybody celebrates. But they have really a number of beautiful, it's a fascinating culture, really. It's a fascinating culture. I couldn't live in Japan because too crowded for me. I was born in a small village up in the mountains.
Too crowded, crowded e affollato, but
crowd
vuol
dire, yes, crowd e folla, crowded, affollato.
But in this case, it's difficult, intricated.
Yes, crowded means very much with a lot of people living in the same place. Just imagine, the population of Japan is twice the population of Italy, and something like 70% of its soil is desert because nobody can live because it's mountains
yes.
or very hard to live places.
Fuji mountain, no, there are mountains everywhere.
Yes, the Fuji-san is the most famous one. The Fuji mountain is, of course, the symbol of Japan. Yes. But apart from the Fuji, all the central part is mountains and hard to live there. So all the people is concentrated along the coasts. Yes. And they are in the middle of the ocean. So they often have tsunamis and, you know, earthquakes. It's geologically speaking, it's a very young country. The two platforms of China and the Pacific Ocean, they're still getting together. They're still getting nearer, and so they've got a lot of like Italy. Africa is still pushing towards Europe, and our Alps are still growing. And we have a lot of earthquakes and volcanoes and hot springs. They've got a lot of hot springs. They love hot springs. Le sorgenti d'acqua calda, le terme. Loro adorano le terme, però appunto è it's a territory.
It's worse than here.
Much worse. Much worse. Yes.
Because I remember the accident to Fukushima.
Yes. It was a big tsunami which destroyed damaged the nuclear. The nuclear, plant.
But so why didn't you stay there? Because it was too crowded,
because
different from your life?
Oh, no.
Lifestyle.
I loved it there, but I went there thinking of staying a little bit and then coming back. I didn't mean to stop there for the rest of my life. But I would have stayed longer if it weren't for my boyfriend who got sick and had to go to hospital. And so I took the first plane and came back. And it's a pity because
it's a pity, yes.
I enjoyed there. Yes. I also found a job there. I went there, just imagine, I didn't know anyone. I didn't know where to go, what to do. When I entered Japan, I was asked, where are you going to stay? And I said, actually, I have no idea. And they were, whoa, what do you mean you have no idea? You need to have a place where you want to stay. And so since I knew a person living in Japan, I called her and asked her, can I give your address? And she said, yes, no problems. So I gave the police, her address. And so they allowed me into the country. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been allowed into the country with nowhere to stay. But when I went there, I stayed for 2 nights in a youth hostel.
Okay, I understand, because you were not a tourist.
Yes, I didn't know how long I would have stayed.
How long? Yes.
I went with the tourist visa, of course.
Yes, but you didn't know. But I didn't know how long you would stay there. So
yes,
you can't stay if.
Exactly. You can't stay if you don't have a place to stay. Yes. So I went with the tourist visa. It couldn't be elsewhere. Non poteva essere diversamente, because you are not allowed to go there to work unless you have a work contract.
A job, yes.
So I went there with a tourist visa, and with a tourist visa you can stay 3 months at most. But what people usually do is, after 3 months, they take a plane to the Hawaii, which are reasonably near, and it's of course the United States. Stay in the Hawaii for a week or 10 days, and then get a plane back to Japan and stay 3 more months.
Yes.
So that's what I meant to do, stay there as long as I could. Because the problem was also a money problem, because I was a student. I didn't have much money, but I said I will find out something, and I did find out something. I taught English in a company. They often organize classes or activities for their workers. So I taught English in a company. I taught Italian for a dentist studio, for the dentists, workers. Then I cleaned. I worked as a house cleaner for a while. Then I worked in a bar, and they were all very interesting things to do, because especially in the bar, my God, at first I made so many mistakes. Because and I was so shocked when I had to fry, for example, some fish. They had, oh my God, that was horrible. I hated it. You know, the aquarium with the fish, and they said, we want this and that, and you had to take the fish alive and throw it into the boiling oil. And I was, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Alive.
Yes, because they really want fresh fish. They're very, how can I say, strict on fish being fresh.
Yes.
Because
but what kind of fish did you put into the?
Could be any kind, actually. In the aquarium, there were many kinds of fish, and the clients told me, we want this and that and the other one. And I always said, can you please do it? I have no courage to do it. That was horrible for me. Sorry, I've lost something. That was really horrible for me. But you know what? They sometimes, often actually, they eat fish, raw fish.
Yes, raw fish.
Raw fish. So it needs to be fresh because otherwise it can be dangerous. So in the supermarkets, what we call sushi, which is sushi, but it's completely different from ours. But anyway, they sell it in the morning. For example, let's say the supermarket opens at 8 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, they're half price. At midday, they're taken away. Yes. Because you needed to eat it fresh.
Yes.
So they're freshly made in the morning. If they've not been sold within 10 o'clock a.m., they're half price. At midday, they take them away.
So in the same day, yes.
Yes.
While our fish in supermarkets lasts more. I don't know, because I just tried once the sushi because I really don't like raw fish.
I do sushi with smoked.
Well, here, but I never tried there. In Japan, it's different.
Oh, it's
really different.
Yes.
Just our fish is not.
It's not good to do
it's
that.
Not good.
No.
Non so come si dice, insipido, non sa da niente.
Yes, without
also
flavor.
With the soya sauce, anche mettendoci la salsa di soia.
Yes,
sauce.
Without flavor, yes.
It's without flavor, yes.
Yes, but apart from that, it needs to be fresh. And I don't trust Italian fish.
No, me too. Me too.
When I make sushi here in Italy, I always do it with a smoked salmon.
Okay.
Smoked salmon. Quando faccio i sushi qua in Italia, li faccio sì le palline di riso, eccetera, eccetera, però col because I don't trust fresh. I don't trust.
And I also read that the raw fish can be dangerous for your health.
Exactly.
Because they have delle sostanze tossiche, sostanze tossiche.
Poisonous. Can be poisonous, yes.
Poisonous.
Può essere anche velenoso. There are fishes.
Pesce spada, for instance. Pesce spada.
Or there are
dangerous.
Yes, you have to know how to cut it, because some parts of the fish are poisonous. Some others are delicious, but you have to know which part is good, which is not. So now you have to be very careful. Don't eat the sushi in Italy.
No, I never eat because I don't like it here. I don't like it.
But it's delicious in Japan.
But why is the sushi food so famous here in Italy for you? Why did it become so famous? Because when I was younger, when I was a child, it wasn't so famous. It
didn't exist, no. But you know what? A dish of sushi, like all dishes in Japan, but maybe for us, the sushi looks, they're all very well cut, very well presented, decorated.
Yes,
you know, these with alga.
Yes.
With the rice and the fish of different colors,
also the colors,
and you know, the decoration. So they are very, how can I say, they really like to present the food, yes, in a very nice way. So because they're so well presented, they have probably become, how can I say, a symbol. I don't know.
So are they so well presented in Japan or not?
Yes,
they are.
Yes. Just imagine, they have no forks. I mean, they don't eat with a fork.
Yes.
They eat with chopsticks.
These are le bacchettine. I don't know.
Yes, chopsticks.
Ah,
no. Chopsticks. Beh, stick e stick. Chopsticks, le bacchettine. They eat with chopsticks, and so the pieces have to be small ones, otherwise they're not able to take them with the chopstick. So they are already cut, they come already cut, and once they're cut, they are presented with the decorations in a certain nice way. You know, before eating and tasting, you eat them with your sight.
Yes, you're right.
Eating them with your mouth, you eat them with your eyes, with your sight.
Yes.
Prima di mangiarli con la bocca, li gusti con gli occhi.
See, I think you're right.
And so maybe because of this, they have become famous in Italy. I don't know.
Yes, perhaps because we Italian, we are attentive to the.
Yes, we like artists.
We are artists.
Yes.
We like artistic things, well presented things.
So probably this artistic way of presenting food kind of, I don't know, hit our sensibility, or I don't know. Yeah. It's like when in the 18th century, they sent, for example, China's ceramica.
Ah, okay.
They sent China's to Europe, but those China, for example, pots and cups and so on, were wrapped, erano avvolte in paper, which for them is rice paper. Erano avvolte in carta, che però per loro era carta di riso. And most of the times it was decorated and painted. So the how can I say, the way they were wrapped was so nice that it looked even nicer than the china inside. And some of these painted rice paper, so to say, rice sheets, became so famous that many of our European painters were influenced by the Japanese way of painting, you know. Yes, there are, even nowadays.
Japanese paintings are really very nice. I love the le tazze, I piatti, plates, and
cups and pots.
Pots, yes, and also I vasi. Vases.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. No, it's a fascinating civilization. It's a really.
And then there is also the geisha, the figure of the geisha.
But you know what? It's different from what we think. It's not a prostitute. It's a person.
No, not a prostitute. I mean, it's a woman, not a prostitute. It's a woman.
Somebody thinks she's like a, but she isn't.
No. I read. We think she's the woman who cares about who cares in the house.
The well-being. Well, sì, dovrebbe essere staccato. Well-being.
Lei rappresenta un po' il focolare domestico.
Exactly, and she cares about the well-being of her clients, but she knows a lot about literature. She's a very educated.
She studied, yes, she's
educated.
There was a film about the geisha, and they are educated, well educated.
Yes, istruita. Educated vuol dire istruita, non educata, istruita. Yes, she knows a lot about history, literature. She can sing, she can dance, she can do massage. She can do a number of things, and most of the times she's called simply to have someone. How can I say? Intelligent and educated to talk to, because she has a great sense of humor, and she has then sometimes, but very seldom, to be honest, sometimes she can get a proposal to go to sleep with one of the men, and she can accept or refuse it. But that's not the main goal of the evening with the geisha. Poi a volte può succedere che abbia la proposta e lei può accettare o rifiutare, però non è il vero scopo della serata, capito? Il vero scopo della presenza di una geisha è proprio portare un'aurea di cultura,
Conversazione,
di conversazione, di queste cose qui. So, yes, yes, it's something different.
What do men expect from a geisha?
It depends on the man. Somebody may want her to tell poems, invent poems.
Or to dance also, perhaps. Also
haiku,
dance.
yes. Haiku, for example, or somebody may want her to dance or to play an instrument.
Oh, yes.
They normally can play various instruments or sing. Some of them are very good at singing. So, it's like going in a, how can I say, in a bar where they play music live, and you listen to somebody singing and playing music, or like going to, I don't know, to somebody reciting poems da qualche parte dove qualcuno recita le poesie. So she's expected to do to be able to do all these kind of things at request. So she must be a very well-educated person. They start very young to study to become a geisha.
So is there a particular school, or is there,
yes. There are particular schools, and they're quite expensive, because when you become a geisha, you're paid an awful lot of money. E sono anche costose queste scuole, perché quando diventi una geisha poi...
They earn a lot?
Yes, they earn a lot of money. Yes, a lot of money. Yeah. Because they are high professionals.
Yes, but do parents decide for a girl, for the child?
Yes, or? Normally it's the parents who kind of send their children, daughters,
so
to this kind of
geisha
schools.
Comes from a rich family. Normally geisha comes from a rich family.
Rich families, yes.
Yes,
no, because you need a lot of money. But because they start very young. So normally it's a parent's choice. But then, of course, if a girl studies 2-3 years and then she doesn't want to go on,
yes,
it's okay, because it's something you need to be happy to do. It's not something you can do because you're forced to do.
Yes.
It's a kind of job.
And they have a free mentality, cioè hanno una
yes,
modo di vedere libero.
Different from ours. From ours.
Yes.
Completely different. Yes. Yes. I remember, for example, when I was young, it was kind of considered bad for a woman having many stories with different men. And that wasn't the same in Japan. I mean, in Japan, they're much freer on this before marriage. Then once you get married, you are concentrated on the family.
Just with one man, yes. One man,
yes.
just
and men with one woman usually.
Because they are, I don't know if they are the religion is the Shintoism.
They've got, you know, yes, they've got.
Or Hinduism, I don't know.
No, you know what? They burn like a Buddhist. Nascono come
okay. Yes.
They marry like a Catholic or something like that. Si sposano come cattolici, and they die as a Shintoist. They muoiono come Shintoisti.
How can I?
Because wait a second, their idea is that they take the best from any religion they get in contact with. So they like Buddhism for some aspects. They like Catholicism, especially the ceremony of a wedding, because it's very nice. But Shintoism plays a great role because they've got this relationship with their ancestors, and it's essential for their culture to have a.
Sorry.
No problems. You go on.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go on.
No, don't worry. No.
Okay. Anyway, yes, Shintoism allows them to have a connection with the dead relatives, their ancestors, and this is very important for them. When somebody dies, he doesn't simply die and that's all. He goes to a different, how can I say, level of life.
Place. There is something about that.
Yes, not real place, different level of life. And they can protect you, and you can talk to them, and you can. And Shintoism is very important on this regard.
So they put all together, or
exactly.
Well, for us Catholic, because I'm Catholic, it's just difficult to arrive till the marriage.
Exactly.
So, you have
but you know what?
It's take funny. Many years to arrive, so they put all together in.
Yes, they take the best.
Society, perhaps in their society, it's possible.
Yes, they say they take the best from any religion. No, you know what? But the funny thing is that we Catholics, we think Catholicism is a monotheistic religion. But if you think about it, it isn't, because true, there's one God, but it's made of God and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And then there are many saints and even many Virgin Marys. The Virgin Mary of the winter, the Virgin Mary of the, I don't know, spring, the Virgin Mary of Lourdes, the Virgin Mary of... So basically, it's considered a monotheistic religion, but it isn't really. And every person praise their own specific saints. Somebody believes in Saint, I don't know, Francis, Saint whatever, you know. Yes. So is this a monotheistic religion? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure about it. So it's funny our way of seeing things. And when you get in contact with a culture which is completely different, you come to see even your own beliefs and your own word in a different way. It was very fun.
How do you say, metti in discussione your religion?
Yes, put everything into discussion. See things in a different way.
But you can say put
way from a different point of view. Point of view. I remember once I was trying to tell someone the story of Adam and Eve because it was we were in front of the church of Senzino, and I, told them about the reliefs. So God creating the animals, God creating the first man Adam, God creating Eve from Adam's bone, Adam and Eve eating the apple, and they have to go away from the earthly paradise. And somebody said, Only because they ate an apple. They couldn't believe they had to go away from, they were sent away from the earthly paradise because they just ate an apple.
An apple is a metaphor.
Yes, it's a metaphor, but nevertheless, it was really funny. That's just because they ate an apple. Or another time, I said the Virgin Mary with her newborn baby Jesus. And somebody said, she wasn't virgin then. She couldn't be virgin then.
Yes, that's true. That's really true. Now, what I can't understand is about Islamic religion.
I don't know much about it.
There are women who with a burqa, che indossano il burqa.
Well, wait a
Some
second.
women say they are happy of their religion.
Okay, can I tell you something?
I don't know.
When I was young, I remember my grandmother would never, ever go out of their house without covering their head, without a hanky or something on their head. And when I was young, my mother would never go to a service in church without something covering her head. So if you notice, you know, we kind of grew out of these habits, and they probably are kind of growing out of them.
No, but these are habits. In my opinion, these are habits that they have in their culture.
Yes, it's
since many centuries.
Yes,
but I can't understand till. Well,
okay, just a second. First of all, to grow out of means lose something when you by growing. For example, she's always, I don't know, biting her nails.
Yes.
Oh, don't worry, she'll grow out of it. She'll become, you know, older, and she will stop biting her nails. Biting her nails. Crescerà e smetterà di mordersi le unghie. Okay, to grow out of means to grow up and stop doing something, usually bad habit. So we evolved from this. If it's an evolution, I think it is, but it might be.
But I don't know. I don't understand where is the border. When
but
you know what? And then when you are not free, when women are free, how much they are free? Islamic women are free, and how much they are not free? I can't understand because I heard a lot of interviews, and some say.
Okay, first of all,
I don't know the real, because perhaps we have to know the culture, and I don't know that culture. I've never lived in Arabia, so I can't.
You can't really say. Me too. Personally, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about it.
And you also can't judge, because I am well with my students at the moment. I'm studying the Maometto and Islamic religion.
Yes, Muslim.
Because first of all, you should have an Islamic student. So you have to pay attention at what you say to the students. And I honestly say, I always say, it's a different religion. I can't judge because of the burqa.
Of course you can't. Of course you can't.
Ask me why Islamic women indossano, where the burqa?
Yes. Okay. First of all, I think any even religion, I don't know, idea has some physical basis. They might need to cover their heads because of the heavy sun, for example, because it's very hot in summertime, or something like this. Because there are usually, at the basis of everything, there are very practical reasons.
Yes, but the burqa is not for men; it's only for women. That's the question.
I know.
my students make.
Yes.
So I don't want, non mi voglio sbilanciare, non so come si dice.
Yes, I don't want to, yes.
Pay more than what I can. So I say, I can't
yes.
judge.
But what I mean is, there might be some basic reason, you know, at the basis of these traditions.
Yes,
first of all. Second, when you grow up in a society of a certain kind, any kind, even our society, you give everything for granted. I grew up in a Catholic family, and I gave everything for granted till I was, I don't know, 18, 19. And then I started to think, this is very strange. This is not really logical,
yes.
you know? So you don't, when you grow in a certain way, you don't even pay attention to, you know, the whys and the hows and, you know, the reasons for a thing. And probably you are happy to continue that way, because it's very reassuring knowing what you can do and what you can't do.
Because it belongs to your culture, to your
yes,
traditions.
It belongs to your culture. And it's very reassuring to know what's good and what's bad, instead of always wondering, why do I do this? How is it? What is it for? And this kind of things, you know? So many people may feel happy just, you know, obeying the laws that they have grown up in, because it's they feel, how can I say, they feel they have their place in that culture, and they know
they have their identity also. It's
their
also
identity,
a kind
exactly.
of identity.
It's part of their identity, and so I.
So when students they ask me, but men are non so maschilisti.
But
I said, well, I don't know, I can't judge because.
But you can't. Yes, you cannot
So.
see things from our point of view. You
Yes.
cannot see their culture from our point of view, because as I told you, Japanese were simply shocked that Adam and Eve went to hell because they ate one apple, and the Virgin Mary had a son,
yes,
and was virgin, you know. So you can't see another people culture from your point of view.
Yes.
So you know,
that's why it's difficult to teach to students, because they want to know just the true story, but there isn't the true story. There are many versions.
Exactly. Truth doesn't exist. What's true for you, it can be not true for me, because it depends on how you see things. You know, so, and the best thing you can teach your children is there are different ways of perceiving different perceptions of things. Yes. For example, just ask them this: what color is the sun? Most of them would probably say yellow, but some of them may say white, some of them may say orange, some of them may say red, some of them may say dark yellow, because and they're all true. I mean, it's true for all of these is truth, you know. It's a matter of a perception of how you perceive things, and different cultures in different parts of the world perceive things in a different way, and they are all as valuable. Just imagine, in Sicily you have breakfast with a granita.
Oh, yes.
In Britain, you have breakfast with eggs and bacon and sausages and juice and milk and cereals and so on and so on. Why is that? Because in Sicily, it's hot already in the morning. You can't have such a rich breakfast, otherwise you would feel bad. Moreover, you have dinner very late at night, from 8 o'clock onwards. And so in the morning, you are not very hungry. In Britain, you have dinner early, 6 o'clock, 6:30
yes.
p.m. So by the time it's breakfast time, you are very hungry and you need a lot to keep going, you know?
Yes.
But both systems are as good. They only developed in a different way. These, how can I say, cultures developed different ways of adapting to the climate and to the land that they were living in. So, and they're both valid. I mean, they both work. So, funzionano entrambi, sono entrambi validi. Semplicemente le persone hanno sviluppato una maniera diversa di adattarsi al clima e alla zona dove si trovavano. So the best thing
the students want an answer, they want one answer. But
yes.
I can't say you. I can't.
There isn't an answer.
Everyone can have his opinion. So
exactly. There isn't one answer. Now be careful. Answer la W come se non ci fosse. Esatto, ci sono tantissimi. There are many cases in English in which letters are not pronounced. Answer, as if the W didn't exist. Answer.
Yes. I wanted to ask you, definitely, what does definitely, definitively? Definitely. What does it mean?
Definitely. Yes, definitely.
But what does it mean? Definitely.
Decisamente.
Like indeed. No.
Sì, indeed, like indeed. Yes.
Like indeed.
Oh. Yes, definitely. You know what? There's a very good.
No, definitely or define. No, definitely.
Definitely.
Because normally I is di solito la I si legge I. But no, not always. Not always.
Yes.
Definitely. Okay.
Yes. Fruit, vedi la I non si sente fruit, non fruit.
Yes.
A friend, la I non si sente friend. Yes. There's a very good dictionary, so to say. It's called the Word Hippo. That gives you synonyms and opposites and examples and these kind of things, and it's very, very useful.
Okay.
For example,
write it. Yes. Word.
Do you know it?
No, definitely. I don't know. No, I don't.
You look for definitely and see without question, beyond doubt. Senza porsi domande, al di là di ogni dubbio, beyond doubt, certainly. Synonyms, sinonimi possono essere certainly, clearly, surely, unquestionably, plainly, undeniably, absolutely, decidedly, positively, categorically, obviously, and so on and so on. Again, as an adverb, in a manner that is definite, decisively, categorically, conclusively, and so on and so on. Okay, so yes. If you don't know a word, you can also find the definition.
Oh, the definition, yes. But is it only in English? But yes,
no, actually, no. You can find other. Okay, wait a second.
Well, but it's yes, there are many sites.
Definitely. See the pronunciation?
Definitely.
And for example, in a definite manner, this is
definitely.
Sì, però volevo sentences.
I like definitely, certamente.
I like it definitely. Absolutely, definitely. If we hoped to blend it with the locals, we would definitely have to get ourselves a couple of tire levers and second-hand wetsuits. Se speriamo di mescolarci con i locali, dovremmo assolutamente prenderci un paio di eccetera eccetera. Yeah, the postmark definitely can trace to the post office where they mailed the letter. Certo, il timbro postale decisamente può far rintracciare l'ufficio postale dove hanno imbucato la lettera, ok? So there are various examples, and you can also listen to the pronunciation.
If we hope to blend in with the locals, we would definitely have to get ourselves a couple of tire levers and second-hand wetsuits.
Okay, it's an automatic reading, so it's a machine which reads it, so it's very strange, but at least
helpful. It's really helpful.
Helpful. Oh yes, it's really helpful. Do you want to find helpful? Helpful. Really helpful. Ah no, we want synonyms. Synonyms. Willing to assist or give aid, qualcuno che è disponibile ad assistere o aiutare. Obliging, friendly, pleasant, kind, accommodating, considerate, thoughtful. Oppure for one's benefit, per il beneficio di qualcuno. Useful, in questo caso tu volevi dire very useful, very valuable, very good, kindly, salutary, worthwhile, and so on and so on. Okay?
Yes.
So, word hippo, word like word parola, hippo like hippopotamus. Word hippo. Word hippo. That's a very useful tool. È uno strumento molto molto utile.
Definitely.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Definitely. Yes. So yes, the best thing you can teach your children is accept any way of, how can I say, looking at things.
Yes,
because everybody has their own personality and their own way of looking at things.
And also because there is another, well, another problem, not a problem, but when they are home, they speak with parents.
Oh, another issue.
Parents, and there could be Islamic children.
Of course.
Perhaps they could
respect. Respect is the how can I say, the basic word. I respect you, you respect me. I respect your beliefs and your ways of living and your religion, and you respect my beliefs and my ways of living and my way of living and my religion. And we can live together in peace. There's a space for anyone in the world. C'è spazio per tutti a questo mondo. Let's live together in peace.
Ecco, fraintendere. They could fraintendere your words.
They could misunderstand.
Yes, misunderstand.
They could misunderstand things. Sì, fraintendere le cose, but I mean, yes.
No, but I just say my children that every culture has his
yes.
Rules, no, not rules.
Yes,
way of
beliefs. Belief è il singolare, ovviamente come tutte le parole che finiscono con F, al plurale diventa BES. Beliefs. Every culture has their own beliefs. Yes. Every person, yes. But apart from the big beliefs, but also simply way of approaching things. Approaching, avvicinarsi alle cose. And this is why it's so important to learn to work in team, because everybody has their own way of looking at things, and putting all these different visions together, you can get a much better, much clearer, how can I say, comprehensive vision.
Quadro della situazione.
Yes, comprehensive vision of the thing. Yes.
The comprehensive vision, yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, yes.
So if you want, we can finish here the lesson. It's 6:30.
I don't care. It's up to you. I don't mind. It's up to you. If you have to go.
No, it's yes. If you, for me, it's
I
the
think
same.
we're doing well. Personally, I like talking to you very much, and
me too, because I heard many things that I didn't know about Japan in particular, because I just saw many videos, but I couldn't know the culture as good as now. As good as
yes, like you can now.
I didn't know about the geisha, for instance, about the geisha, what things, and also about the festivals in Japan.
And so on, yes.
I'm very curious about other cultures.
You know what you could do? You could do something like showing or teaching your children the different, for example, myths for the birth of the word in the different cultures. And so from there, they can understand how different people, how different cultures can see the same story in many different ways. For example, Australian people, the dream time, it's fascinating as well. Do you know what the dream time
No, I don't know.
is? The dream time, okay, literally sarebbe il tempo del sogno, but it's not like we think dream. Non è il sogno come lo intendiamo noi. It has a different meaning. The dream time for Aboriginal people. Aboriginal sono
i nativi
locali, esatto,
locali.
gli aborigini australiani, esatto. The dream time for Aboriginal people was the time before the man came on earth, prima che l'uomo arrivasse sulla terra. And in the dream time, the earth was formed. E in questo tempo del sogno, che non era un tempo vero perché non c'era ancora l'uomo, la terra fu formata. So, for example, kangaroos jumping made the holes, which then became maybe lakes or simply holes. And the snakes, how do you say in English? Growing made the valleys or the rivers, for example, the bendings of the river. And then, I don't know, they've got these tales on the birth of the word, which are really fascinating, And Aboriginal people, for example, are very much tattooed. They tattoo their body because those tattoos for them are a way of giving instructions of where they are from, what group they belong to, and where they live. And
a sort of identity card.
Yes, and where there is a spring of water, which is very important because the central of Australia is a very dry area, and knowing where there are water springs can save your life. So instructions are where the water spring is and what age they are, if they have moved from childhood to adulthood. You know, all these things are tattooed on their skin. So the skin is their way of telling other people about themselves. because of course the different how can I say groups, the different groups didn't speak the same language, so they needed a way to communicate.
Yes.
American Indians used, for example, the smoke, and this kind of smoke, how can I say, alphabet, not alphabet, but
yes, I understand.
Like our Morse alphabet, to communicate, or certain gesticulations.
Yes.
People who cannot speak, who are dumb, mute, use the same way of speaking that, for example, not the same, exactly the same, but which derives from the way Indians spoke among them when they were near. And they used to smoke when they were far away. So all these things give you an idea of how the men found the different ways of solving everyday problems in the various different places they found themselves to live. Or, for example, the Inuit in Alaska or Canada, northern Canada, they are Indians, of course.
Yes.
But they've got a completely different way of living from other groups of Indians. They live in teepee in summertime, teepee. Tents made of skin, usually buffalo skin. Teepees in summer, or igloos in wintertime, because there aren't many, for example, trees to make a wooden house, but there was a lot of ice and snow. So they used ice and snow to make their igloos. But in summertime, sometimes the ice melts. So in that case, buffalo skin could be useful. Or they move in dog sled, in sleigh driven by dogs, or they fish, under the,
in the ice.
Yes, they make a hole on the ice and fish through there. But in the south of the United States or Central America, where there wasn't ice, or there wasn't snow, there weren't, these kind of things, the Maya and the Aztecs, or even before them, people lived on agriculture in houses made with mud, for example, mud bricks, in mattoni di fango essiccato, for example, pueblos. The pueblos were villages made of houses made in mud bricks, and with stray roofs, con come si dice, tetti di paglia, per esempio. And they grew vegetables, and they made baskets, these kind of things. A completely different way of living, and they were both Indians for us. E sono entrambi indiani per noi, but they had to adapt. They had to adapt to the different climates and possibilities of the place where they lived.
Yes.
So see how important, what an important role geography played on their culture. Ti rendi conto di che ruolo importantissimo ha giocato la geografia sullo sviluppo della loro cultura? Perché cioè per il semplice fatto che, for the simple fact that they lived in a place where they could find certain materials and a certain climate, they developed completely different cultures. But they're both valid, they're both good, they're both effective, they both work, ma sono entrambe valide, entrambe efficaci, entrambe che risolvono i problemi. So, you know, that's, since you teach Italian and geography and history, this can be a very good way to show them how, you know, the different cultures are sometimes, they do not come up like this out of the blue, out of the blue, out of the blue, di punto in bianco, sorry, blue, di punto in bianco, non vengono fuori di punto in bianco, out of the blue.
Come out of the blue. Out of the blue.
Yes, but they have a reason behind them. And most times, the reason is the place they were born. E la maggior parte delle volte la ragione è data dal luogo dove sono nate queste culture, capisci? For Japanese people, Japan was created by the goddess Amaterasu. I cannot write in this language. I mean, I cannot write.
Wow, it's Japanese, the same. You can just tell me without writing.
Okay, Amaterasu was the goddess, è stata la dea who created Japan. And you know how she created Japan? Fishing the various islands, you know, which then became Japan. Ha pescato dall'oceano.
Because it's a group of islands without, just with mountains. There is no way to cultivare, to grow, no. Grow vegetable. They just grow some vegetables or rice.
Yes.
So there is not space, much space.
There are very few plains, pochissime pianure, and when there are plains, they're often marshland, e quando ci sono spesso, come si dice, acquitrini, diciamo. That's why they grow rice, because rice can, you know, can be cultivated,
when there is water a lot.
Both in the water and outside the water. Ed ecco perché coltivano tanto riso, perché il riso è una pianta che sopravvive sia fuori che dentro l'acqua. So, and as a matter of fact, if you want to grow rice in a natural way, that's what they do, for example, in our Bassa Veronese. They, for example, plant rice, and then they cover it with water. And when the animals who live in the water appear, they dry the fields, and those animals die. And when the animals who live in the dry, you know, soil appear, they higher the water again, so those animals die. And by playing with the water and dry, you know, wet and dry, they can cultivate rice in a completely natural way without the need of any spray, any chemical, antiparasites, this kind of things, you know. Yep. See, and so, yes, in Japan, this goddess Amaterasu fished the various islands of Japan from the ocean. She went fishing one day and she fished all the various islands. Because Japan is how can I say, a
group of islands where the soil is not...
a complex of islands. Big and small.
Non fertile, non so come si dice, una terra che non è fertile, the soil is not...
Yes, a complex, yes, it's a very, how can I say, poor land, not fertile, not fertile at all, but some parts are fertile, but most of it is...
Near the coast, I think.
Sorry?
Near the coast.
Yes, most of the cities and so on are along the coasts.
Infertile.
Along the
It's
coasts.
like Italian, not fertile.
Yes,
it's like fertile. Italian, not fertile.
Yes. Do you want to see a synonym of fertile? Wait a second.
Well, if you want, yes.
Because it can be useful. Where's the word hippo?
Sometimes when you speak English, you try, well, I try to find the best words, but sometimes they are similar to Italian.
Sometimes they're simply similar, yes. Productive, prolific, fruitful, lush. Lush è proprio, come si dice in italiano, quando è ricchissimo di vegetazione. Lussurioso, lussureggiante. Rich, fecund, fat, generative, luxuriant, flowering, fructose, and so on and so on. Abundance.
Most of them are like, well, they are similar to Italian.
Most of them, yes, are of Latin origin, and the words of Latin origin are very similar to Italian ones. The once fertile land of Egypt is now being ruined by the proliferation of brick, stone, and concrete. Okay, the fertile land of Egypt.
Why English is a German language if there are some Latin words?
Actually, to be honest, English is a patchwork. It's a mixture of different languages. First,
because it should be, well, it's a German, when you study that it's a German language from the north of Europe languages, like Holland, German.
Yes.
The countries of the north of Europe, but
English is a mixture. Because there were Celtic people living there, but when the Romans arrived with their Latin language and so on, those Celtic groups were sent to, for example, Scotland, over the sea to Ireland, Cornwall, places which were not fertile and which the Romans didn't care about, because they couldn't be cultivated, you know?
For instance, it's very different from German. I'm studying German.
But wait a second, I'll come to that.
Okay.
So they've got a lot of words of Latin origin, which mixed with the word of Celtic origin. And this also happened to German as well, because the Romans occupied what is now Germany as well. Yes. But when the Romans retreated, Vikings and other Angles and Saxons and other German tribes invaded, so to say, occupied, England, and brought their dialects, their languages. But in 1066, the Norman conqueror, William the Conqueror, William the Conqueror from Normandy, from the north of France, occupied almost all England. And from that moment onwards, the language of the court, of the noblemen, of the knights was French, ancient French. So there was Latin for the church, Celtic or a German origin, language for the common people, and French for the rich nobles and knights. And finally, at the end of the day, all these languages mixed up to produce what is now English. So it's a patchwork of languages. Moreover, inoltre,
in addition
to this, in the 18th century, England conquered a series of territories all over the world, and many words were imported from India, for example, pajama, whatever, from Africa, banana, from a lot of other countries. So really, English is a patchwork of languages. And then
yes, banana, they haven't their own word for banana, because banana is not an English word.
Banana. From the African name. And anyway, and moreover, they tended to use, even if pronounced in a horrible way, in their English way, they tended to use the words of the things they get in contact with for the first time. So for example, from Italy, they got a lot of words related to music, piano, adagio, allegro. Then they pronounce it in opera, yes, these kind of things, or from gardening, or dal giardinaggio, or from, I don't know, but anyway, they tended to use the words, the original words of the object. Tendono, quando entrano per la prima volta in contatto con un oggetto, tendono a tenere il nome dell'oggetto, poi lo pronunciano nella loro maniera assurda, but sì, perché alla fine.
But it's like us, for us it's the same.
Cha, which means tea, cha became tea. Cha, because it was chai, chai, tea. You see that it's a completely different.
Yes. I was last year. I was for 1 week in Edinburgh. Yeah, Edinburgh. And I didn't like the pronunciation. I prefer the English from London pronunciation.
Yes, well, yes, it's Edinburgh.
Well, it was difficult for me to understand.
No, scusa,
it was difficult to understand the Scottish pronunciation.
Yes, yes. They tend to read it as it's written. Bus is bus, and so on. They tended to read it as it's written.
But it's not as nice.
And it's very closed.
And it's not as nice as the British. Sorry, yes. The British is much more nice, and
it sounds nicer to you. It sounds nicer to you.
Yes, it sounds nicer.
But one of the incredible things of English is that we talk about English, but English almost doesn't exist, because, I mean, there's Oxford English, but even in England itself, any person has any, how can I say?
Wales, yes, England, Wales,
Wales,
different regions.
Scotland, Cornwall, Ireland, they've got their own languages, plus according to their, how can I say, to their social class, speak a different kind of language. So the language, the English that a worker in London speaks is not the language that a professor in London speaks. And it's not the language that the TV, that you can hear on TV, for example.
Yes, sure.
And it's not the language of a young person.
But the worst is for me the American. American is worse.
And then there are many countries where English has become the mother tongue. But apart from the States and Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Malta, India, many African countries, Sri Lanka, and they all have their own, how can I say, different pronunciation and different words as well. So the English spoken in London is not the English spoken in Auckland or in Sydney or in New York or in San Francisco, or, you know, so it's funny because we talk about English, but actually it's not one language.
You learn English and then you are in Sydney and you can't understand.
And then you speak many languages. I can speak English, Canadian, American, Australian, New Zealander, and so on and so on.
Okay.
Anyway,
okay, we can finish.
Okay, it was a great pleasure to talk to you tonight.
For me too. For me too. So you see the last Wednesday of this month.
Sorry.
Like, we'll see next. Not next. We'll see in.
Yes, in 2 weeks' time. In 2 weeks'
Wednesday
time. Or in a fortnight.
Sì.
A fortnight sarebbero 14 nights, ovvero 15 giorni. Oddio, cosa ho scritto, scusa. 14 nights, scusa. Ovvero 15 giorni, 2 settimane.
In a 14 nights.
Yes. See you in a fortnight, or see you in 2 weeks' time.
In a 14 nights.
Fortnight.
Okay.
Or in a 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.